guys, thanks for joining. It's Lisa with LB Arts. I am going to go ahead and be brave today and do a tutorial on how to do some blooms. I've got my hair back. I've got my pony in. I've got my apron on because it's messy business, but it's fun. So hang with me and we'll get started. Thanks. I'm going to bring you down. Okay, guys, I have got the majority of my paints all mixed up here. I have got a yellow. This one is Candy and Yellow. It's Artist Loft. It is a semi-transparent. See that little tiny square right there? If it's half filled in, that means it's semi. Okay, we're going to be doing... This is Amsterdam Primary Magenta. And this is my consistency. It runs off very well. It leaves a little mound. I hope you can see. It's not too thin. It makes a little bit of a mound, but it sinks right back in real quick. Okay, that's that one, and it is a completely opaque. So see how the square is completely empty? That means that if it's over something dark, you can see through it. Okay, next I have got my, this one is Artist Loft Neon Pink. You see that one right there? And it is also transparent, so you can see right through it. And my consistency for this one might be a little easier to see because it's a pretty color. Kind of mounds, but it goes right back in. And it leaves a little bit of a trace and goes back in. Next, I have got my Amsterdam Primary Cyan. There you go. And that one is semi-transparent. Okay, so I'm new to learning these as well, so we'll learn together. This one has a clear box, but it has a line through the clear box. So I believe that that is like semi. And this is the consistency of this one. Oh, man, I'm really trying to get these lights going for you guys to be able to see. But I've got every light in my house on, so. And I've got another little light, and I've got my makeup mirror. I'm trying to make it where you guys can see well. Okay, this one is Vermilion. It is by Artist Loft. It is transparent. Consistency. Okay, the last of my two paints is this one right here. This is Master's Touch, and it's a deep purple. This one, the others, the Artist Loft I get at Michael's. The Master's Touch I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm kind of new to it, so I'm kind of deciding whether I like it or not. This is actually Violet, and it is... Okay, the opacity is right there on that one. Okay, for my cell activator, if you guys are new to blooms, blooms are not easy, you guys. So if you are going straight from never doing this before and going straight into blooms, do not get frustrated with yourself. Do not give up. Blooms are not easy, okay? Cell activators are really hard to get down, unless you want to go straight with the Australian floetrol, which I don't. I want to be able to use my US floetrol. It's cheap. I can get it at my local stores. The Australian floetrol is expensive. It's amazing, but I don't have the money to spend on that, and I really want to use US products. So this is the consistency of my cell activator. It's probably really hard to see because it's dark, but it just kind of goes straight in. Okay, and then I also have some pigments mixed up. I won't go through all these right now, but I have, this one is, I got one of the little packs. I have two piggies. I got two piggies, but I can't afford to buy a whole lot at a time. So I got this little 30 pack from Amazon, and it was like $9.99. So I'm gonna try these out and see if I like them. They come in, you know, just really different pretty colors. So we'll try these. And this one is the purple red out of that 30 pack. And my consistency is about the same. It leaves a slight trace and then it goes back in. These paints I mixed up yesterday morning before Easter began with the kiddos and the grandkids and everybody coming over. So they've sat. I've kind of got everybody back to where they need to be, and I figured we would make one together. Okay, now for the base paint, or the pouring medium on your pigments and your tube paints for the blooms, you're going to use an untinted deep base. Okay, this one I got at Ace Hardware, and this is a neutral base. Basically what it is paint that is not tinted. You know how you go in and you look at your little swatches and you pick out what color you want, and then they go and mix it up for you? This is before they do that. So get it straight off the shelf. Do not let them shake it. Don't tell, you know, they'll try to tell you you need to add a color. No, you want straight untinted deep base paint. And that comes from your local Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware. Let's see. And with that, right now, I'm out of my Josanya. I picked this up. They didn't have Minwax. This is the Valspar polyurethane. It's very thin and fluid, but it's milky white. But it does dry clear. You won't see it once it's dry. And I tested it. It does. It comes completely clear, but it's really thin. So I use my little syringe here to suck it up. Okay, so what we're going to do, and this is my pouring medium. Both of these I use for my tube paints and my pigments. With your pigments, okay, I'm going to take some of that polyurethane, and I'm going to put it straight down in this little cup. I don't measure. I just kind of get, this is almost gone, enough to mix my pigments in. Excuse me. Okay, so there is that. With your pigments, you really need to wear a mask when you use them. Open them far away from you, because all these little tiny particles can float through the air, go up your nose and your mouth, and cause you some health issues. So it is best to do a mask when you're doing this. I'm going to start out with this much. These little spoons I got at the Dollar Tree, and they're just perfect size for this. I'm going to use just a tiny bit more. I really did a full heaping spoon yesterday, and I don't want to waste them, so I'm going to try using a little bit less this time. So that was probably almost a spoonful. Okay, and you're just going to disperse this into that polyurethane. Pigments tend to be just a little bit grainy, so you want to really make sure that they have time to sit in there and get soaked up really well. Okay, that looks good right there. Okay, this is that Valstar. It's the same thing. I'm just gonna go ahead. I have it in a smaller container where it's easier for me to get in and out of. And I even have like a little scoop in here. Okay, I'm just gonna put a big old dollop. Maybe just a tiny bit more. And then that is that untinted paint. And that is our pouring medium for our pigments. We're going to stir this up really well. A lot of your time in doing this art is going to be mixing paints. It gets irritating, it gets old, but it's time consuming. But I enjoy it. I enjoy just the whole process. It's my therapy, so it works really well. I have anxiety and all that, and it helps. Because it's a couple hours, you know, you're not thinking, you're just creating beauty. Okay, and there's that. That is gold. And that is maybe just a tiny bit thick. So I'm going to add just a little bit more of this polyurethane. Typically I get the Minwax, but it is, and this is water-based, not the oil-based. But they didn't have it, and this seems to be a little thicker. So since I'm out, I went ahead and just broke down and bought some more Jif Sonia because I really like it the best. And just mix and stir. And since it is kind of thick, I do use just a squirt or two of just distilled water, just straight in there. I've just had to do that with this one because it runs thick. And make sure you get those little ridges on the bottom, the corners. Just leaves a trace, but it goes back in itself really quick within a second or two. Okay, I am going to wear gloves. Things I have learned on this journey is definitely wear gloves because your hands get so messy. You're constantly cleaning your hands. Another thing, don't run yourself out of clothes like I have. I paint and everything because I'm just like, oh, I got to do it now. And I get up and I'm not going to get paint on myself every time I get paint on myself. So, oh, let's see. We are working on, I think these are 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 little ceramic tiles. And before I forget, my cell activator, what I do for it is it has to be, from everybody I've watched, everybody gets the best results with the Amsterdam acrylic paint. This one is oxide black. Sorry, it's covered in paint. And it's got the square completely filled in. That means that it's completely opaque. You can't see through it at all. So that is the cell activator. I used it with at least 8 parts of the U.S. floetrol. This one, I get this at the local stores. They're usually about $14, $15 for this whole big old gallon. So what you want to do when you're making your cell activator, always shake your floetrol really well. It tends to separate and clump. The Australian floetrol doesn't seem to do that, but the U.S. does. So you always mix it really, really well. I have a little pair of pantyhose that I got at the Dollar Tree that I cut, and I put a little piece of pantyhose over it with a rubber band to hold it, and that holds out the clumps. So that's a great tip if you're having issues with that. Now with that, I mix in, I started out at 8 parts. 1 part paint, which I used my half tablespoon here. I did a half tablespoon of the oxide black, and then I used 8 tablespoons of U.S. floetrol, and then I used 1 whole spoon, little tiny, the little tiny spoons from the Dollar Tree. I used a whole spoonful. Well, I was getting good results, but not great, so my cell activator kind of started thickening up a little bit. So I went ahead and added a little bit of more floetrol, which this was up to here in water, and the rest of the way I filled it up with floetrol. So about maybe a third of water and then the rest floetrol. And I just put a little more squirt in there, so it's probably closer to 9 parts now. And then I also used, okay, everybody usually uses the little red cans of Minwax. I told my husband I needed one, and he stopped and got me this one. This is a 32-ounce can, and it's bigger. There are so many Minwaxes, and so many, they're in red cans, and it gets so confusing. So I'm not sure if this is different than what everybody's pretty much been using, or if it's the same thing, but it is a fast-drying polyurethane clear gloss. It kind of has, sorry, I've got all my sticks and stuff in there. It kind of dries like a yellowy, but it is like an oil, and we mix that with the cell activator, and that's what I put two spoonfuls of in here. So, sorry if I'm repeating myself. I'm really nervous, you guys. Bear with me, please. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get my tile. I'm going to pour just a little tiny dab of paint just to kind of hold the tile in place. Okay? Put that down there. This is just a little cake spinner. I got it at Hobby Lobby. It spins pretty good. It spins well enough for the blooms. You want to make sure that you're directly in the middle. Let me stick some of this stuff out of my way. Give me just a sec. Okay, and what we're going to work on today is we're going to be working on these blooms. I've got a lot of people that has requested that I make a video, so here we go. I'm nervous. Y'all pray that I get good results. This is one of the first ones. It's completely dry now, and then when it's resined, it will sing and shine, and all the pigments and everything, and it will come back to life. There's another. And then these are the ones I was playing with yesterday morning. It's really hard to get the sparkle and shine on the camera, but maybe you can see it. And another. Now, of course, I had grandkids over, so I think somebody stuck their finger in it. So, I don't know. I might be able to salvage it, maybe not. I'll keep it. It's cute. Oh, and also with this one, this is all pigments. I use just pigments in this one. I'm kind of playing around with my layering and still learning how to layer and stuff, so through this process, we'll just all learn together. How's that? There's things that you guys are going to know that I don't know. You can teach me, and I can teach you what I know. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and take, this is the, oh, I didn't show you guys this. I'm sorry. This is, well, here's my can. I poured out the front of it, but it is Glidden Eggshell. It's the essentials. I hope you can see it. But it is eggshell, and it is semi-matte. And I just got this at Home Depot while I was there the other day. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pour, and that's just straight out of the can, decant it into containers that I can more easily manage. And then I put it in a cup as I'm going to use it. So we're going to put that down. Okay, now everything that I've learned so far is you basically just put down enough to where it covers like a little over half of your thing. And then a lot of times I will go ahead and bring it on down around, but leave that good pillow in the middle, because that's what we need to make our blooms. That's why we use the house paint, is because it is a pillow for the other paints to sit on. And then when you blow it up over the pillow, and the pillow spreads out underneath, and that's what makes your blooms grow. Okay, so I've got my pillow on there. I'm going to go ahead and start layering some colors. I'm going to go ahead and start with the violet. And again, this is the consistency that I'm using right here. It flows off very well. I'm sorry if that's so dark. It flows off very well, and it kind of makes a little mound or a trace, but it goes away within a few seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. And then I'm going to use this little pigment right here. It's a real pretty, it's got an iridescent flash to it. I'm going to go ahead and put this pigment down here. I like to kind of use matchy colors. It just kind of looks cool. It'll get a little of the violet that will transfer with it. Just put it right there. I'm going to go ahead and use another pigment. I'm going to use the blue. Those pigments from yesterday, they dried so dark. So I went ahead and added a little bit more of my untinted base and polyurethane to try to, maybe, I don't know. They just seem like they dried really dark, so I'll just give it a go. I like to experiment and play and see what works and what happens. And okay, this is an herb tube paint. And then I'm going to put, nope, let's see. I'm going to go with, this is another tube. This is that Amsterdam. It's called Permanent Magenta, I believe. And then I'm going to go ahead and do another pigment. And then I'm going to put a little gold pigment on top. These might be a little thin, you guys. I might have got a little too excited and thinned them out too much. But we'll see what happens. Okay, and then you just put the cell activator right there in the middle. We're all learning, right? That's how we learn, as we experiment and try things out. Okay, now with this, what you're looking for is, if you can see, there's a little tiny halo starting to happen around the black. I hope you can see that. Where it's kind of almost fuzzy around the edges, and that's a very good sign. That's what we want, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to do this where you guys can see me blow, because it's really important. You don't want to go like this, because you'll wind up with channels. You want to kind of and give it a good puff. So, oop, that wasn't great. There we go. Okay. Now, one thing with the U.S. floetrol, I blew just a little hard right here. See, I've got the white pillow paint coming through. It's okay. I don't love it. We'll let it sit, and maybe it'll kind of go down, but I don't think so. It could have been bubbles that popped when I blew, too. So we're going to give that just a few minutes. And while that's doing its thing, I am going to go ahead and take my gloves off, because the messiest part's done. And I'm going to take a toothpick and go ahead and I didn't like modifications until this week. And then I did it and I'm like, well, why didn't I like that? That's gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go out there a little bit. I kind of look for areas that I don't love. Wipe that off each time so it's nice and clean. Okay, so this right here doesn't have much going on, so I'm going to go ahead and just take my little toothpick and just kind of swirl around in there a little bit. This part's pretty. It's probably going to spin off, but it's got just a little, nothing much going on there around the edge, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Maybe make a little mark like that. This has got really pretty parts going, so I don't want to mess with it a whole lot. Just a little bit. Now right here, see where these lines are? And it's not really doing much in here yet. I'm going to go ahead and go in, swirl, swirl, and then just make a little pattern in the middle. Right here, I'm going to start right here, swirl, swirl, swirl out. Right here, little swirl. This one, a little swirl. And I try not to go all the way down to the pillow too much, but sometimes I kind of like it, like right here. Let's see. Little swirl. Okay, now with the US floetrol, you have to be really patient. That's the only thing I've learned. Be very patient. It's heavy, so it's sinking down, and it needs a little help sometimes. So what I'll do is I'll get my little bendy straw here. I got a big old pack from the Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree's your best friend, by the way, for this stuff. And without disturbing everything around it, just kind of give it a little puff. And then just kind of wait. Just a little puff. Because you want it, don't touch it to the paint like I always do. But you just want to kind of give it a little help. You don't want to blow it all the way down to the pillow paint, of course. You want to just kind of try to blow through those areas. Man, I kind of boo-booed that up there, but we'll see how it works. So blow light, but blow heavy enough to where it goes down in. Okay, just give it a few minutes. You want it to kind of move as one. Okay, if I tilt this way. Oh, it's doing pretty good, actually. Okay. So when I move it, it seems to all be, even the center seems to be moving pretty good. And sometimes to help those little cells along, you can kind of tilt it into that center. I made my little swirly kind of wonky, so I'll just go in and fix it. Just a little swirl. Sometimes I do little hearts. Okay. I think we've let that sit long enough. It's going to do what it's going to do at this point, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and spin it. Now, you don't want to spin it to where it's going to go flying across the room. You just want to give it a little spin and let everything just kind of flow over the edges. If it's not flowing, kind of give it a little help. My sides kind of dried while I was yakking along, or talking along, yickety yakking. There we go. Giving her a little spin. And I like to go the other way. I don't know that it really does anything, but it seems to, in my opinion. Okay, you want to see how much movement you have, and I still have a little bit, so I might go, let's see, one more. Ah, too much. I had a little part of the pillow pull up here. I go ahead and fix that because I don't like it. So I'll go ahead and just touch that up with a little bit of my pigment. I might go ahead and just do those purples too. What do you think? Now, sometimes I mess with it too much and I mess it up, so we'll hope I don't do that. But just to make it not as obvious, maybe. Just do a little something there. There we go. I think it helped. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Let me give it one more little tiny baby spin. Okay. All right. There we go. Hope you can see well. You can kind of see the pigments glowing. And then when this gets dry, of course, it loses a lot of its pizzazz. But then once you epoxy it, woof, there it is. But there's quite a bit of little peacock cells in there, or jelly beans. It's got all the different little colors coming up through the cells. There we go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move this one out of the way. And I just sit cups over some, like a box that I've flattened out. And I just set it up on cups on top of that box so it can drip and dry. There it is, one more time. Hopefully you can see the glitters. You want to make sure it's pretty level and flat, so when you come back and check on it in every 15 minutes like I do, it's not sliding off of your tile or your canvas or whatever you're painting on. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll do one more. Okay, just put that on there. And I really like the colors of that one, so let's kind of do similar. Okay, again, my consistency. As it falls off, it's smooth, makes a little trace, a little mound, and it goes right back in pretty quickly. So we're going to go ahead and start with our pillow. It's probably too much, maybe. We'll be right. Okay, there's a couple of bubbles, so I don't want those popping up through the pretty colors once I get it done. So I'm going to go ahead and just poke it with a toothpick. And sometimes there's a little glue, and that might be a little gloop. Sometimes there's a little gloop, little schmudge stuff in there. Okay, that's better. A little bubble. Tapping it can get them out too. Okay, here we go. Ready? See what we can create. Use this color. And I've got another little purple pigment here. We'll throw on that one. I'm going to do some orange. Bloop. Some yellow. Maybe some blue pigments. You can swirl them. You can drop them in the middle. It's just however you. And it's a beautiful day outside. I'm just winging it today, so I'll do. Be careful when you mix yellow and black. They tend to go like a green and kind of muddy color. So I do try to avoid my yellows, golds, and blacks. I did gold on the last one and I was kind of scared, but I think it did okay. We'll see when it's dry how it looks. Neon. I got way too much on here, but that's okay. I'm having fun. You do you, boo. Don't let nobody tell you how much piggies and pigments and paint to put on there. You do you. It's all just fun. And it's pennies. You know, in actuality, if you look at it, so you have to scrape it. You know what? As a matter of fact, if I find some I don't scrape, or sometimes the little bits that come off that are real pretty, I'll go ahead and take these little clear cabochons. You can get them on Amazon, and they come in little kits, and they come with, like, this one's a keychain. So this one comes with a little flat base and a little clear cabochon. I'll dip it right in there, and then I'll put it upside down. I'll even tap some pillow paint on it if it looks like it's kind of transparent, just to kind of make sure it's even. And then after it's cured for a few weeks, go ahead and glue it in those. I've got a little owl. I think he's just adorable. It comes in all different colors and everything, and they're not very expensive, and you know, you can save some of your pretty parts. So it's not a complete disaster or, you know, waste. That one's a necklace. They come with the little chains and everything. And like, here's some I've done recently. It's got silver and pink and orange. So anyway, more little fun things to do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my cell activator on. I do have way too much on here, but that's okay. It's okay. We'll see what happens. It's all in fun. Okay, when I put it first on, let me see if you can see that kind of halo. Okay, we're fuzzy. We're definitely fuzzy. There's a few little air bubbles, so I am just gonna, not on my pillow paint, but just on my regular, just give it a little tiny. You don't want to burn it and put a skin on your pillow paint, so be really careful when you do that. Okay, well, you can really see the halo now, I think. Okay, here we go. Ready? Ah. And you just want to blow it up over. Don't blow into your pillow. So, like you're skimming across the top of it. But you're trying to take that black up over with it. Kind of fudged that one up. That's okay. That's what modification's for, right? Yeah, that's coming up really well. So we'll let it sit and kind of do its thing for a minute. As that black sinks down and the lighter colors come up, that's what's causing that reaction for your little cells. Oops. And another reason why I decided not to go ahead and spend the extra money with the Australian floetrol and try to stick it out with the US is they still have to blow. You know, so if I still have to blow and I still have to work on it, then why not just try to make it with what's more economically friendly for me, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to blow. Remember, lightly, so you don't go into the pillow paint, but enough to go down into the colors a little bit. Ooh, a little bit too much there, but that's all right. Remember, just lightly. Don't go, whoo, because you will blast it out. Just kind of tilted. Okay, see right there? My yellow looks a little muddy. That might be the blue shining through. So I'm still learning. I'm still learning on how to layer. But it might be all right because it's pigments and it'll be pretty. Actually, yeah, it's pigment. So it's the gold. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just go in and start doing my thing here. So, let's see. This isn't very petally looking, so... just right there. Kind of fill in some of that area now that didn't come out so well. You don't want to cooperate? We'll just make you. That's all right. And just swirl, swirl. Okay, let's give it a spin. Or for you. Yeah, get up over that corner. Sorry, I'm jamming to my music in the background. Corners are always the hardest, so you just got to give them a little help. Okay, one more. Yeah, there's some little ghost cells. There's lots of peacock jelly beans. Shout out to my my favorite group on Facebook, which is Acrylic Pouring for Beginners. Aside, Darren, Josh, Bridget, and Christy. I'm sorry if I forgot any of the admins. Yeah, what do you think? I like it. All right. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.